Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to 2C TV, your global news channel. We have some breaking news coming from Sydney in Australia. Some of you might already be aware over the last hour or so. There has been a lot of information that's now come out about a mass attack on the Jewish community at a Hanukkah event in Sydney at Bondi Beach, and we're going to talk about all this. There's a lot of videos to show you. There is actually a clip we have of a hero, a bystander, a civilian who managed to disarm one of the attackers. We also have the identity of at least one of the attackers, but the second one as well. We'll get the confirmation on the second one, but the first one, he is a Muslim. Both of them are Muslim. There seems to be a conversation about the third suspect. One is from Pakistan, the other maybe from Afghanistan. We're going to talk about all this. We are going to go live to Sydney in Australia as we continue to get more updates from the Prime Minister Albanese in the country. It's a desperately sad day. Once again, another mass attack, mass terrorist attack by Islam on innocent Jews. The attack, the threat is not just on Jews inside their country in Israel, but all around the world. It's a lose-lose right now if you're a Jew. You're not allowed to have a country, but you're also not allowed to be in any other country. Let's go to the footage. The first is the beginning of the heavy shooting at Bondi Beach in Sydney, and then we will get more updates. Let's go. You can see both of them standing next to each other. The two of them there. Let's not forget, Australians have issued a huge number of visas to the so-called Palestinians over the last couple of years. And Australia is also one of the main hubs for the Islamic Republic of Iran. The IRGC are very much active there. But we'll talk about that properly because the Israeli officials are now blaming the Iranian regime for this in terms of funding it. People are running and taking cover after the mass shooting started at Bondi Beach. Let's go to that.
That's gunshots. A lot of gunshots.
Disgusting. Now, witnesses said initially that two men dressed in black opened fire on the crowd. This was a Hanukkah event with over 1,000 people who attended. Several people were initially injured. We now have the confirmation of how many people are dead. So far, 12 confirmed dead, including a suspect, 30 injured, 2 of them police officers, 1 child. We expect the number of casualties to increase, unfortunately, but let's go to the next moment. Yes, absolutely. A disgusting situation right now. The incident occurred near Bondi Beach. The police continue to urge the public to avoid the area and shelter in place, although the shelter has now been lifted, but they still say that the situation and the investigation remains active, so it's probably best for you to not be there. There is also a video from an eyewitness who was inside the building, and they filmed the actual shooters from the window. Let's go. Now, we do have confirmation that at least one of the shooters has been eliminated. Another one has been arrested. We are hearing of a third suspect. There will be other suspects in general because this seems to have been a coordinated attack. Again, some of the Israeli officials are blaming the Islamic Revolutionary Guard in Iran. And as I said, I will explain the connection between the IRGC and Australia because they have embedded themselves in the Australian community, just like society, just like in Canada and London. But let's go to the next clip, graphic footage of people on the ground. One of them is a suspect. The one on the left is a suspect. So that guy went for him. I'm trying, brother. I'm trying. Now, in terms of the response, we will go back live to Sydney, the footage that we have, because we just had the press conference by the authorities with more information and confirmation. They have now officially called it a terrorist attack. For the first few minutes, they were unsure, despite the fact that it was quite clear that when you have a number of people dressed the same with guns targeting an event with 1,000 Jews at a Hanukkah event, what do you think that is? Do you think that's an accident? Do you think that's just, they didn't know where they were going and they just happened to have guns and the guns just went off? But they took their time, obviously. The investigation is still ongoing. And multiple, with a huge crowd, obviously, it's started to run for their lives. Again, I can only imagine. But for those of us, obviously, who are not Jewish or Israeli, all we see and hear in recent times is this. We keep seeing footage of Jews running for their lives. I don't know how it actually is, because the main target right now around the world is the Jews. Let's go to the next one. You can see on the beach, people are running away right there. They're all going to the left. Eyewitness said that at least 50 shots were heard at Bondi Beach. One shooter obviously eliminated, the other one has taken into custody. The next clip, just a heads up, again, graphic footage, we've blurred it, of the casualties on the ground. Let's go. And one child, by the way, at least one child. We'll get more information on the other victims. Now, there is an image that we've just received. A bloodied Jewish prayer garment has been seen after the shooting, as obviously the police and the emergency services, the crew are continuing their rapid response. It's sad times, obviously, but at this point, the lack of surprise here is astonishing. I'm not surprised. I'm not. You could say it's shocking. Obviously, you could say it's disgusting, as it is. You could say that our Western governments only seem to care after something like this happens. They always come out and say, be vigilant. They always come out and say, let's be united. They always come out and say, hate will not win. Well, there's a lot of attacks from hate right now. There is a direct political ideology that's been going on for centuries and centuries, that's written in a text. It's not just an idea, it's a political manifesto to wipe out anybody who refuses to convert to Islam. But apparently, you welcome that ideology, and when that ideology hits you, you simply say, it's okay guys, let's just be vigilant, let's be united, hate will not win. How many times can we go through the same cycle of doom and chaos? Going back to the footage that we received, another video captures the chaos at Bondi Beach and the shooting as more people were running to save their lives. Let's quickly go to that one.
Oh shit. Oh shit. I'll find her, I'll find her.
Attacks on Jews and Israelis have been going on forever, as you guys know. But when it happens at this time, at a Hanukkah event, it brings back the feeling that a lot of people had when they saw the Novo Music Festival. Specifically that, not even the rest of October 7th. When you see just innocent people just at an event being completely clueless that anything could happen to them. Now, the Australian police on the scene were initially unable to disarm the attackers, because they were not armed. This becomes a massive scandal, by the way, because let me show you on the map. That's the photo of the map from the Bondi beach. The attack happened under there in the south of the map. Right there, you can see up here is the Bondi Beach police station. Yet, the response, the police in Australia were not armed. The ones who went there after a while and failed to stop the attackers. Now we're going to show you a video of a hero, a civilian bystander, who tackled one of them and disarmed them. But before we do that, there is a response from the Prime Minister. He's also just made a speech saying, "The scenes in Bondi are shocking and distressing. Police and emergency responders are on the ground working to save lives. My thoughts are with every person affected. I have just spoken to the AFP Commissioner and with the new South Wales Premier. We are working with the NSW Police and will provide further updates as more information is confirmed. I urge people in the vicinity to follow information from the new South Wales Police." So that was the initial reaction from Prime Minister Albanese. The confirmation that we have now from the scene itself. 12 people confirmed dead at least, including a suspect, 30 injured. As far as they know, that number could also change. 2, unfortunately, also police officers. The second suspect is in custody, but is in critical condition. I'll talk about the identity of the attackers. We have at least one of them. There's also the speculations about the second one, but I'll get that verified first. Let's go to the next clip that we've received from people running for their lives. I think that's when someone actually intervened. Look at it, the civilian. There we go. There we go. He went for him. There we go. He got the gun. He's got it. That man is a hero. We still don't know who it is. I'll find out more information. He's saying it's safe now. We've got him. That guy's still there.
Le mec est hyper courageux. Oh.
No, throwing things at him. Not going to do anything. At this point, would have helped because I think the other one still has. Yeah, the other one is still armed, so people didn't really feel it was safe to go and tackle the other shooter because his friend is still there. That's the one on the bridge. That's the one who's gonna die, I believe. He's dead already. So the other one's gone back to his friend.
Il a pris une deuxième arme.
His last is gone, but there you go. You got another one. So these guys,
il a
they
récupéré
have that gun
l'arme
now.
du mec qui... Tu sais, il l'avait pris dans sa main, là.
Il y en a un deuxième, là.
He's injured.
Oui, oui, j'ai vu, j'ai vu. Ouais. Mec, c'est un attentat, frère. Eh, il y en a un,
This
il est
was
en
the
dessous du
moment
bridge.
you needed the police to be there,
Ouais.
but they weren't, because the initial group of police officers who went there, they weren't even armed. I don't know what they were thinking. So, anyway, next clip, more innocent civilians running for their lives.
¿Qué está pasando, hombre? Alicia, escucha, Alicia, porque está pasando algo. Algo está pasando, pero no sé qué. Pero ¿dónde va la duro?
We can now confirm the identity of one of the suspects. Yeah. Here it is. One of the terrorists in the attack has been identified as the, I believe, Pakistani national, Naveed Akram, Muslim. The police have now raided his house in the suburbs of Sydney. That's the identification that they found on the scene. You can see his date of birth, 12th of August 2001. Quite young. I mean, anybody born after 2000 for me is very young. That's his photo as well. We're trying to get the confirmation if that's the one who has been eliminated or if that's the one who is now in custody and in critical condition. The other one, there's some information coming out that the other attacker may be from Afghanistan. One from Pakistan, one from Afghanistan. Again, we'll get that definitely confirmed and verified, but we do have the identification for one of them at least. Naveed Akram. There is also a statement that we have received. If we go back to the live feed, I don't know if that's yeah, okay. We have a statement from the National Imams Council. This is the Muslim community in Australia. The National Imams Council says, "This is a moment for all Australians, including the Australian Muslim community, to stand in unity, compassion and solidarity, rejecting violence in all forms, and affirming our shared commitment to social harmony and safety of all Australians." So that was the National Imams Council. The initial, although now they're saying the initial reporting, as it suggests, the second shooter was maybe an Algerian immigrant who arrived in Australia around 10 years ago. As I said, the first one, they say, Naveed Akram, was Pakistani. But the second one, they're now saying Algerian immigrant. Again, we'll get that definitely verified first. But there seems to be some more info on this, that the fact that he arrived in Australia about 10 years ago and is from Algeria. Israel Hayom, the Israeli official, has now responded saying that we know that Iran is behind this. And this is where it gets kind of obvious, because the Islamic Republic of Iran have two major bases in Canada and in Australia. The third main base happens to be in the United Kingdom, in London. But over the last 40 years or so, the Islamic Republic used Sydney as a main hub for coordinated terror attacks. So the Iranian regime themselves don't carry out the terror attacks necessarily, but their main hub is responsible for funding and training of terrorists, mostly Sunnis from the Arab world, even though the Iranian regime themselves are Shia, but they pay them. And that's how they get this done. There have also been a number of incidents in Australia over the last few decades because of the IRGC. at the embassy and at people's houses. They hunt people down, they assassinate them, and they kidnap them. So I wouldn't be surprised that it will be the IRGC coordinating, because this one it wasn't just one person, as the media would call it, isolated incident, a lone wolf. We know definitely two involved, but there may be a third person. They are raiding people's houses as we speak in Australia, and there will be an investigation over the bigger connections and links to the external actors. A senior Hamas official in Gaza, I'm assuming is actually based in Qatar, not Gaza, has told Al Jazeera, Hamas have said, "We welcome the blessed attack in Australia. It was a major and inspiring event that strengthens the resistance worldwide." So Hamas from Gaza, they are celebrating, which is not a surprise. Speaking of celebrations, there's going to be a follow-up update later on as well, shortly after this, about the situation in Syria, because at least 2 US servicemen were unfortunately killed by al-Julani's friends and ISIS, basically. And there will also be celebrations across Syria by the jihadis. This is the same Syria that claims to be wanting to change and modernize. Let's quickly go to the press conference in Australia with the authorities giving us an update. Yeah.
I appreciate you all being here on a very distressing night in Sydney. At approximately 6:47 this evening, 2 individuals began firing on a crowded group of families on Bondi Beach at Archer Park. This cowardly act of terrifying violence is shocking and painful to see, and represents some of our worst fears about terrorism in Sydney. I very sadly need to report that as of now, there are at least 12 individuals that have been killed. One of the offenders has also been killed, and one is in custody. This attack was designed to target Sydney's Jewish community on the first day of Hanukkah. What should have been a night of peace and joy celebrated in that community with families and supporters has been shattered by this horrifying, evil attack. Commissioner Lanyon will speak about the investigation, the police response, as well as the designation of this attack as a terrorism event in Sydney. I can assure the community it will be met with a massive, comprehensive police and public order response. Our heart bleeds for Australia's Jewish community tonight. I can only imagine the pain that they're feeling right now to see their loved ones killed as they celebrate this ancient holiday. It's the responsibility of all Australians to wrap their arms around Australia's Jewish community and help them get through this incredibly difficult period. This is a massive, complex and just beginning investigation. It's just begun, and there are things that tonight we don't have the answers to. However, we do have answers to some crucial pieces of information for our wonderful city and our beautiful state. The first one is the outpouring of love and support from ordinary Australians for Australia's Jewish community is real. Secondly, today is another example of the enormous pressure and responsibility, the danger that New South Wales Police regularly face as part of their job. They do it without faltering. They didn't falter today. We need them.
We have some breaking
thirdly,
news.
Tonight saw extraordinary acts of personal courage and bravery from individuals in our community. And I think it's worth remembering that in all of this evil, in all of this sadness, there are still wonderful, brave Australians that are prepared to risk their lives to help a complete stranger. Mel?
There's a
Thank you, Premier. Good evening. Premier has outlined the brief
chaos
circumstances this evening.
happening
I'll go
right now.
through them again. They're more than happy to take some questions. About 6:47 p.m. this evening, police started to receive a number of reports of shots fired at Archer Park at Bondi. Archer Park is a grassed area just north of the Bondi Pavilion. Police responded promptly. Unfortunately, at least 12 people are deceased at this time. 29 people have been transported to various hospitals around the Sydney area, including 2 police officers. The condition of those officers and the other transported are serious, but there is a range of conditions. Our thoughts, prayers and love go to all the families and all of those that were involved tonight. We know that there were many people there to celebrate a happy occasion, the celebration of Hanukkah, and there was well over 1,000 people there when this took place. As a result of the circumstances of the incident tonight, at 9:36 p.m. this evening, I declared this to be a terrorist incident. I have also authorised special powers under Section 5 and Section 6 to ensure that if there is a third offender, and we are currently investigating that at the moment, we will make sure that we prevent any further activity. Section 6 allows us to investigate today's incident. There is a massive police response, and I think as journalists you have seen how quickly and promptly the police
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to interrupt that as we have some breaking news coming from Sydney. The police have now found multiple explosives and bombs in a vehicle at Bondi Beach, and as we speak there is a raid at the home of one of the shooters. I'm trying to see if this is the house that housed all the shooters or just one of them, because the crowd, the local residents in Australia have now turned up essentially with pitchforks, and everybody's, I think we're trying to get that. Yes, we have that now. Okay, so let me just quickly show you what's going on here.
That's his house over there.
Trying to sort this out. There we go. Okay, let's quickly go. I'm going to get the information on where we are.
Actually, they've got a crowd going on right now.
This is Bonnie
I was
Reek.
waiting to see what happened. We've got the coppers right there. More people over here. That's his house over there. He's getting bloody raided right now. You reckon they're done? Is that why they're leaving? Thanks for tuning in to my news channel, guys.
Okay. So, 2 major pieces of information right now. We can now confirm that the police have, as I said, found explosive devices in a car nearby. They have also now raided the home of the suspects. Obviously, the crowd are curious, so they've all turned up. They're saying this was an improvised explosive device that was in a car linked to the suspect in this deadly attack. Confirmed by the Australian police. There is also, I'm just going to give you the summary of the timing of it as well, because the police were called to the reports of a shooting at Archer Park near the beach at 18:47. The police responded after a few minutes. The police station were not too far, as I showed you on the map. Was it 12 people still got killed anyway instantly, and 29 people taken to the hospital, 2 police officers as well. At 21:37, so this was 3 hours later, the police finally declared it a terrorist incident, as they call it. And now we got the New South Wales police working with counter-terror police to investigate the possibility of a third suspect. So they have strong suspicions that there will be a third person at least. They don't know who, they don't know where. That's what they've obviously raided the homes of the suspects. Unfortunately, we can also bring you guys another sad update about one of the victims. It's just been a complete mess of an evening, once again, for the Jewish community. Let me just get this for you guys. Yeah, okay. So we can now also confirm that Rabbi Eli Schlanger has Recently, actually, he sent a letter to the Australian Prime Minister, Albanese. In his letter, he wrote it after Australia decided to recognize a Palestinian state. The rabbi urged Albanese not to betray the Jewish people and called on him to reverse the decision. Today, this rabbi was murdered at the Hanukkah event that he organized. He gave a warning to the Prime Minister of Australia before his death. The Australian government ignored his warnings, still pandered to the Palestinian terrorists, and rewarded Hamas for their October 7th attack on Israel. They got the reward. You could have a Palestinian state. Good luck doing it, by the way. And now we have this. Live footage from Sydney in Australia as their police investigation continues. Albanese has now responded to the Jewish community. The Prime Minister says, "We are all shattered. An attack on Jews is an attack on the entire country." I'll respond to this in a second. "On behalf of all Australians, to the Jewish community, we stand with you. We embrace you and we reaffirm tonight that you have every right to be proud of who you are and what you believe." Prime Minister of Australia, who says that we stand with the Jews, an attack on Jews is an attack on the whole country, was the same Prime Minister who attacked the Jews only a few months ago and rewarded Hamas and Islamists, and also brought in many more Palestinians by issuing visas to the Gazans and members of Hamas and supporters of Hamas. Someone says, we don't want Islam in Australia. Let's get some reaction from the live chat as we wait for more info. We got Ivan saying the governments just don't care. They really care about responding with words and tweets after the fact, and then they'll go back to their normal betrayal. Weak Prime Minister, real consequences from anti-Semitism. I agree. He's been an absolute disgrace, Albanese. Scott says 10 plus dead, and of course the BBC are not stating the obvious. That's a very interesting point, by the way. Let me just, I'm going to double check how the BBC is reporting this. 11 killed in shooting at Australia's Bondi Beach. That's the headline from BBC News. Have they mentioned anything about the Islamists? No mention yet by BBC News. Of course, we've already confirmed that. And even the Australians confirmed the terrorism. But yeah, BBC News is slightly behind as usual. No, Ivan says meaningless words from officials as ever. Yeah, at this point, around the world, around the Western world, something like this happens, don't bother coming out to make a live press conference. Just write one statement, get ChatGPT for all of you, whether you're in Canada or France or Germany, just post that. Because you're going to say the same things anyway. You're going to say, oh, let's be vigilant, let's be united, hate will not win, blah, blah, blah. You're just wasting everyone's time. You're just coming out, repeating the same nonsense, going back, nothing changes, no policy changes. If I'm not wrong, wasn't there a warning a few months back, maybe from the Israeli government, that there could be an attack on Jews living abroad? Yes, there have been numerous warnings, especially in Australia, yet the government, the left-wing government in Australia ignored it. Wasn't in their interest at the time. Phil says that we are definitely on the verge of a religious war throughout the world. World War III has started, and it is a sinister psychological war attacking innocent lives. The problem with the current version of warfare that you have around the world is it's no longer like the traditional battles or conflicts where soldiers attack soldiers, kings attack kings, presidents attack presidents. No, we don't have leaders attacking leaders. We have innocent people getting targeted left, right and center. Jennifer says, thanks to CTV, the Australian government always something. How did that happen? You let terrorists in. Yeah. That's the gist of it. Trying to get more information on the house raid that we've just had. I'll get the confirmation. Someone says, happy birthday, Australia. May you enjoy the fruit of your humanism. Again, obviously, the Australian government don't represent everybody in Australia, especially because of the voting system anyway. There are a lot of good Australians, including that man, the civilian, the bystander, that successfully intervened and disarmed one of the attackers. In fact, I'm going to go back to that footage. Heroic moment. Let's quickly go and see that again. That's the moment that hero, the one in white, is going to go and is going to grab the guy with the big gun. There we go.
Oh non, gros! Oh,
Successful.
il va se faire tirer dessus.
Insane day.
Il est trop con, le mec qui a l'arme.
The Israeli Prime Minister has responded. He says what happened in Australia was horrific and the death toll continues to rise.
Oh l'enculé, il a pris une deuxième arme. En gros, il a récupéré l'arme du mec qui... Tu sais, il l'avait pris dans sa main là.
Mais il y en a un deuxième là, ils sont tous les deux sur le bridge.
Oui, oui, j'ai vu.
Tu les vois les deux?
Ouais.
Mais gars, je comprends pas ce qui se passe, gars. Je suis terrorisé.
Mec, c'est un attentat, frère. Eh, il y en a un, il est en dessous du bridge.
Mais genre, c'est un attentat devant nos yeux?
Ouais.
Gars, une minute de plus, on était dehors.
Do you remember when Australia outlawed guns, saying, yeah, we don't need guns, we're going to take them away, everyone's going to be safe. You can never take guns away from criminals. Let's not forget about that. But nobody was able to actually defend themselves because nobody else, good people could not be armed. Bad people are allowed to be armed. Now, there is a report that's just coming in from Sydney. I'm going to get this ready for you because getting some worrying updates. This is reported by Visegrad 24. What you're seeing on the screen, as you can imagine, is the fireworks. Visegrad says reports of Islamists setting off fireworks in Disney to celebrate the terror attack against the Hanukkah celebrations at Bondi Beach. The Palestinian supporters have now set off the fireworks. That's according to Visegrad 24. I mean, that would be insane. Absolutely insane behavior. Not surprising, but vile. Crazy. Okay. Now, there will be apparently a follow-up update from the house raid by the police shortly, which this is pretty quick investigation, I guess. Yeah, we'll have to wait for that. All right, let me just double check what we have here for you guys. Someone says that civilian will probably get a fine for a weapon theft by a police officer. Yeah, that he's the real bad guy. Clearly. Imagine one of our religious celebrations is attacked this way. It's blatant anti-Semitism, usual lip service from politicians. Thanks to CTV for exposing terrorism for what it is. Praying for you. Thank you so much. And wonder what they are planning for the UK over Christmas. Well, in Germany, they managed to foil a terror attack. I believe 5 Islamists have been arrested in Deutschland, but it's Christmas period, obviously. So for Christians in Europe, anything could happen, whether you're in Sweden or France or UK. We have a lot of security in London. If you go to Christmas markets or these Christmas fun fair things like the Winter Wonderland, there is massive security. Obviously, you got the bollards and blockades and all that, but they now do a proper airport level strip search if you simply want to go to a Christmas market in Hyde Park. And it's sad because even a few years ago, even about 10 years ago, less than that, it wasn't like that. They used to do basic bag searches. If you have a big bag, they would just search that. That was it. Look, things are rapidly changing. I don't know what's going to be happening in 5 years' time in terms of security measures or whatever, but I think that's going to be when they're going to be asking for your digital IDs in order to be able to go to places. The Prime Minister recognized the Palestinian state. Don't forget this. Yeah, as we reported earlier, the letter from the rabbi, who unfortunately has now been murdered. The rabbi warned Albanese, and the Australian government ignored them. Anyway, we're going to keep an eye on this as more information will come out shortly. And we are also going to come back in a bit on 2CTV with the latest update on the shooting in the United States, but also the attack in Syria on the American soldiers. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Maya 2C, and we are the media.